Hey there, this is Chelsea, the trip leader for Costa Rica. Today we are going to show you a little bit about paddling. In our retreats, we love to show the ladies a paddling workshop. We're going to show you some tips and tricks on my board today. So finding the sweet spot on your board is really important. Make sure that the nose of your board is not too high up or not too low into the water. If it's too low into the water, it will cause the board to nosedive when you're catching a wave. Another really important thing is to keep your knees together. You don't want them apart because it will make you a little less balanced on the board. And then one thing that I did when I was younger, just to get that position on the board, I would put a sticker right where I needed to be so that I could kind of look down and be like, that's where I need to put my chest, or that's where I need to put it so that my gaze kind of went straight down onto it. And that's how I knew that I was in the perfect spot. Effective paddling. I've seen a lot of beginners when they start off kind of slap the water, and that means that they don't really go anywhere. An effective way to really get a good glide is when you put your hand out, you put your thumb in first and it goes underwater. It kind of does like an S pull and then exits the water. Do this with both hands, but a really important thing is to not move your body too much on the board. What happens when you move your body too much is that your balance is completely put off, and if you're trying to paddle into a wave, your paddling might be great, but as soon as you start rocking your body, you may tip over and not catch the wave. With your paddling style, trying to get out back, there are two different types. There's getting out back and then actually paddling into a wave. When you're trying to get out back, it's more relaxed. You still want to have good technique when you're paddling, but you're not going to give a full 100% because you're going to get out the back and you're just going to be exhausted. As a beginner, you can kind of take your time. You don't have to be too crazy paddling out. I tend to arch my back a little bit more when I'm paddling out and just give nice, cool strokes. Focus on getting out back, but also be looking at what's happening around you. Don't go and paddle straight out where all the sets are breaking. Try to paddle around everybody, and that way it's a cool, calm paddle out. So the second type of paddling style is when you really want to get a wave. We tend to do the 0 to 60 paddle. So let's say you're in beautiful Costa Rica, you see a wave coming, you're looking over your shoulder, you're giving, let's say 20%, and then the wave's getting closer, you give 40%, and you then drop your chest onto the board. That helps put a little bit of weight onto the front of the board and helps the board go faster into the wave. So now with that last 20% that you're left with to get to that 60, chest down, chin down even. My surfboard at home has multiple pressure dings from my chin. I like really push my chin down and get all that weight forward just so that I can get into that perfect wave. 3 advantages of sitting on your board is that you can breathe easier. You're not pressing down on your rib cage. It's nicer paddling out after a really good wave to kind of sit down and just take really nice deep breaths. Another advantage is just being able to view the ocean. You have a good vantage point where you can see the sets coming, and you can also see what's going on around you. And also, when you sit on your board, it gives you a little bit of confidence. It shows people around you that you really know what you're doing, because it is an ability and a skill that you kind of have to build up and learn. Corking. When you want to cork your board, it's basically you pulling the board under the water. I tend to slide a little bit further back on my board. I hold the rails tight and I pull the board back and it shoots out of the water. Growing up, when I used to surf in places like Florida or Virginia with barely any waves, I would tend to use that technique because it gave me so much speed to get into the wave. So any waves that you will surf that don't have as much power, it's a great technique to learn. Pivoting your board is also very important. I feel like I've been saying important with everything, but everything is important. So pivoting, you do this to catch waves, if you need to get out of the way or want to get to a wave quickly to paddle. And that involves you sitting a little further back on the board. Further back will give you more of an advantage to turn the board. This, added in with swiveling your feet, will make you turn even faster. So swiveling is just moving your feet in clockwise directions and anti-clockwise directions quickly will make your board turn. But this, accompanied by sitting further back, you will get whatever wave you want and look like a pro. Turtle rolling is something that you do most of the time on a longboard because they're so buoyant and so long that you can't duck dive them like a typical shortboard. So the main things with turtle rolling is you have to time it well when the wave is coming. You don't want to turtle roll too soon or too late, because if you do it too soon, you may turn back over when the wave is actually hitting you. And if you do it too late, it will take your board from your hands. So I would say when you see the wave coming, right maybe 5 feet away from you is when you grip your hands on the rail and you pull the board over. So you are laying under the board and the wave is going to go right over and pass over you. After that happens, you twist your body and push your hand. I tend to use my right hand because I'm right-handed, but you push the board over and then jump back on the board quickly and then paddle back out. Duck diving on a shortboard. This is my shortboard, and there are 2 different techniques that I use. I use my knee and I use my foot. With my knee, I hold the rails and I wait until the wave is almost in front of me, and I will grip my rails tight, push the board underwater, and use my knee to help put all my weight down, and then use it to also bring it back up out of the water. Now, I will use that if I am surfing a beach break like what we have here in Costa Rica. I have to be duck diving waves really quickly, so it's just easier to kind of put my knee up and use that to get under the waves. If the waves are slightly bigger, like Soup Bowl in Barbados, I will use my foot. And I find when I use my foot, it makes me get a lot deeper because I really put a lot of pressure into the tail to push it under the water and then bring it back up. For me, it's really important to hold the rails tight because you don't want, if a wave is big, that it hits your board and the board comes back in your face. We hope you've really enjoyed our tips. Please like and subscribe and let us know what you thought in the comments below. And hopefully I'll see you on a trip maybe in Costa Rica or Barbados really soon.